Hi, I'm Andrew Berman from the Mortgage News Network, coming to you from the M&N Studios here in New York. You're watching Top Mortgage Employees, and with me, I've got CMG President and CEO and the MBA Chairman, Chris George. Thank you for joining us today, Chris.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be on your show.
So listen, I'm going to get right into some things that have been have me very curious. So here you have an organization that has, and I wrote my notes down here, so let me make sure I get this. You have 35 wholesale and correspondent account executives. You have 160 branches and about 600 MLOs. Yet I've talked to a lot of actually your employees. I've from regional managers to the wholesale account executives, and everyone feels so connected. How are you able to run such a large organization and make everyone feel so connected, Chris?
Well, connected oftentimes is really a derivative of communication. So in order to stay connected in an organization, you really have to be very effective in communicating. And it's tough to do when you're spread across the country, as you described. We do a lot of things to stay connected with that level of communication. Number one, we have a frequent all-hands call on a quarterly basis. So the entire company knows what's going on across the board, from wholesale to correspondent to retail and everywhere in between. They hear about the things that we have done in terms of growth. They hear about the things that we have done in terms of record-breaking production months. They also hear about folks that have joined our organization. So they really are connected across the board. Perhaps more importantly, however, is we use a lot of technology to remain connected as well. So every single one of our phones that we have uses a video technology so that, like I'm speaking to you right now, it's the same way I can speak to anyone in the country, whether they're remote or whether they're in an office. I can see them on the other line, on the other side of the phone call, and be able to have a different kind of conversation. Now, truly, there's probably not much of a substitute to actually being there. And we make a great degree of effort to either bring groups in here at corporate to have a deeper conversation about operations or sales or production. And oftentimes, because I'm a pretty active participant in the process, I like to get out and visit people in the marketplace. And I like to see their customers too. So from the retail side, I like to meet with the realtors and the builders and the financial advisors. And the wholesale side, I like seeing our customers, the correspondents or the folks that are sending business to us. It's not just one thing. It's a combination of little things that build to one big thing.
Interesting. So using video technology to keep actually all your employees throughout the country engaged, and you're physically going to people to meet with offices, meet with partners. I mean, so out of a typical month, how many days of the month are you out on the road, just meeting with offices?
Today, I would say now I'm probably 3.5 weeks out of 4 in the field. Now, part of that is unusual because in part, I'm doing my MBA chair responsibilities too. So I'm back and forth to DC visiting with the CFPB or with Treasury, or for that matter, attending many of the state MBA conferences around the United States. But what's nice is I can dovetail one with the other. So for instance, I'm going to Texas on Sunday for the Texas Technology Conference. And after that, I'm going to go from Texas to Miami to our President's Council event. So I can dovetail the two together. Typically, though, at least 2 weeks out of the month when I'm not doing MBA stuff, I'm out in the field visiting with our folks, both employees and, again, vendors and customers and business partners.
Awesome. So listen, I'm going to take a little stroll down memory lane here. So 1993, I'm graduating high school, and you're starting up mortgage companies here.
So I was graduating high school that same year as well. How funny is that?
That's awesome. so I got to ask, if we look at CMG 1993 to CMG today, what similarities exist?
Well, I mean, we still have the same initials. I mean, that's nice. But beyond the initials on the door, I mean, the truth is that we started the company centered around the ideas we wanted to do something different. We wanted to have a different kind of company, one that the forefront of what and how we are was actually almost more important on what we did. So in other words, we wanted to have a culture that people would be proud of, one that felt like a family, one that felt like you had a voice, one that felt like you were proud of the people that you worked with and worked for. And we began with this sort of militant focus on culture. And then from there, we said, if we can do that well, if we can bring the right people in, like-minded people into our organization, then we could go someplace. It's funny, when you talk to people that have worked at other companies that have started small, and they said, we were great, we were small and agile and versatile. But as time went along, we became bigger, and then we lost something. And they would hearken back to the good old days. Remember when we used to do that and we were always together? I don't want to lose that. I don't want us to grow and become something that we aren't, or something that we don't want to be. So we're very, very focused on maintaining our culture first. How are we serving our customers? How are we serving one another? And if we're still doing that the right way, let's grow to another level. I guess it's possible that if we become to a place where you cannot grow unless you change who you are, then I think we got to make an assessment as to whether or not we want to get bigger and become something we aren't. And that's a tough discussion to have. Well, so far, we've been able to navigate each one of those steps as we've grown.
Yeah, almost like the way a bonsai tree grows. You've kind of you haven't forced growth. You haven't been growth focused. You've been focused on the culture, and that, I guess, has kind of forced this growth. So now let me ask you this: if we look back to '93. Did you envision that this would be anything like this? I mean, did you, I know you weren't focused on growth per se, but did you say, if we stay focused on a culture and, nurturing the kind of environment that you started back in '93, that eventually you will grow up to be one of the largest privately held mortgage bankers in the country?
I think that what our focus was back then, certainly people gauge and judge you based on size, right? The bigger you are, the more money you make, the more employees you have, all that kind of stuff. In my heart of hearts, I'm a loan officer. I feel and operate like a loan officer. I really enjoy the value proposition that a loan officer brings to the table. And what I think that value proposition is, you get to do something for someone that, frankly, they invite you into some of the most private parts of their life, right? How much you make, how much they have in the bank, what their credit is like, whether they're married or not, whether they've been married before. They invite you in to let you help them do two major things. One, you get to help them begin to establish wealth. Most people see buying a home as the first step to wealth. And then the second thing they let you do is really change their quality of life. There are folks that look at their home as a part of the family, and gets passed down from generation to generation, almost like saying, hey, listen, no one else can have this home because it has so much meaning to us. It's been the backdrop of all these major events in our lives. We don't want it to leave our family. And that part of the job, I enjoyed that so much. Some people say that they get the high out of, I made a bunch of money. And that's important and all that. I'm not taking that away, right? But at the same time, I so enjoyed what it was like watching people say, oh my gosh, I didn't think we could do this. Or, oh my gosh, I didn't think we could lower our payment. Oh my gosh, I didn't think we'd put our kids through college. Or, oh my gosh, I didn't think we'd be able to have another bedroom when we had a baby. And that is such a good feeling. I got paid to do that, which was even better, right? It was like a bonus. But I really focused on that feeling. I enjoyed that so much that it allowed me to continue to grow the company. I think sometimes people have the emphasis in the wrong place. I got to be a millionaire before I'm 30 or whatever the number is. And that wasn't my thing. My thing was, I just really wanted to have a group of people and have a bunch of customers that respected the way we did what we did, and frankly enjoyed the process so much they would refer me to somebody else, of their family or friends.
Yeah, and you just accidentally became very, very successful because being focused on that.
There's nobody getting out of high school or college and go, hey, Mom, I'm going to be a mortgage banker. Nobody does that, right? It's all, we're almost all accidental mortgage folks, right? We sort of stumble into business. And I think it's an addictive business, right? You can sit there and enjoy so much that you can do such a good job for people. Yeah, I mean, we had a plan, of course. We wanted to get better every year, but by getting better, we did more. And so that worked for us. If by doing more, we would somehow lose the essence of who we were, that didn't work for us. Yeah. And so it's not so happenstance, but to some degree it is. I mean, I'm the most unqualified guy for this job. I mean, I'm the least qualified guy to run a company. And maybe that sentiment, right, is you're laughing at me, but I mean, the fact is that I'm the guy that shouldn't have been sitting here. And that's why I feel so thankful and blessed that I'm even here to begin with.
And I think that's why your employees feel so connected to you. So I'm going to ask you, I want to ask you one last question. If we were to think of actually the kind of individuals that really excel at CMG, that you know actually just from meeting them or looking at their past histories, that these are people that are just going to join CMG. They're going to be there for the rest of their life, and they're going to love it, and they're just going to blow up and blossom as an individual and professionally. Who are those individuals? What do they look like?
So let me give you a little hint on what I do. So when I'm interviewing somebody, if I were interviewing you for a job, I ask myself two questions when I'm talking to you. Number one, would I work for you? So you're interviewing for a job here, but in my mind, I'm saying, would I work for this guy? Would he promote me? Would he train me, teach me? Would he keep me out of trouble, give me a little barrier, make sure I don't get it outside of an area that keeps me safe? So number one, would I work for you? And number two, would I buy from you? Doesn't matter what role you're coming in, sales or operations, are you able to articulate your point in such a way that I'd say, you know what, that makes sense. Yeah, I believe in the product that he's selling. If you pass those two things, you're coming on board, in my mind. Who are those people? Well, with the last name of George, it's almost incumbent upon me to be curious. So I like people that are curious, right? I like folks that are going to be wondering of the who, what, where, when, why, and how. I like people who ask why. I like them challenging the status quo. Number two, I like people that are entrepreneurial. I always tell people that I think I built the company on more about asking for forgiveness than permission. And I like those kinds of people. Now, you have to be careful with that because, you can get in trouble there. But what I am saying to you, I like people that say, hey, what about? What if we did this or what if we did that? There is no sacred cow at our company. If you come up with a better idea, I'm willing to listen to that idea because we like to have that evolution. We are agents of embracing change. And then lastly, outside of the curiosity and the creative and the entrepreneurial people, I like people that own the process. In other words, hard work works. People that sit there and say, I'm going to put in the time and I promise you I won't give up. And when the going gets tough, the tough get going. That whole thing. I like those people that say, all right, I got knocked down again. Okay, so what did you do? I got up, I brushed myself off, and I got back at it again. Those kind of characteristic people, oh my gosh, they do incredibly well here.
Awesome. Fantastic. Chris, thank you so much for taking the time today to meet with us. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to connecting with you again.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me. I love being on your show.
And I'm Andrew Berman from the Mortgage News Network. Thank you for watching.